In 2 weeks, there has been two major cases where video game taunting has become a massive, massive issue online. Last time it was in an Apex tournament where one player teabagged his teammate and the entire team got banned from all future tournaments that were hosted by that org. And before that, it was a player on Twitter making a giant thread about how teabagging in Valorant is traumatizing and is the same thing as real world sexual assault. Even just mentioning that Twitter thread is painful, like gargling glass. Comparing video game teabagging to sexual assault just reflexively makes the human body want to vomit. It's so fucking gross. But the point is, over the last couple of weeks, teabagging in video games has become like the ultimate evil to some people, like Voldemort here. If you don't know, and I already know you all do, but I just want to explain it a bit further, teabagging in games is when you go over someone's body and you crouch up and down a few times. That's it. That's all. That's what's starting all of this controversy. And today, we reached the boiling point that's confirmed that we live in Weenie Hut Juniorville. Two players were banned for talking about that Twitter thread about teabagging and sexual assault. They made posts saying that it's very silly and disrespectful to compare teabagging to sexual assault, which it objectively is. Anyone with half a brain would agree that it is outright disgusting to compare video game crouching to fucking sexual assault in the real world. It is asinine, and it's just downright wrong. And today, two pro players were officially banned by Riot Games for their statements on that subject. They made posts saying that it's wrong to compare crouching up and down in a video game to sexual assault, calling it silly, calling it stupid, and they received competitive bans from Riot Games. And not only that, they got doxxed by Riot publicly. Their full names in the headline of their bans. And their names, they didn't have public. They didn't want their full names out there. Instead of just giving their gamer tags or their handles online, they gave their full fucking names. Just a huge, stinky, embarrassing blunder from Riot here. I think it's been, like 2 weeks? I made a video called Horrible Tweet I Can't Stop Thinking About, and it was all about that huge Twitter debate, wrong word for it, that huge Twitter clownery where someone made a giant thread all about how teabagging in video games is sexual assault. I'm sure you all remember that, right? A Twitter user made a giant case for why teabagging in Valorant is the same thing as real-world sexual assault and it's traumatizing, this and that. Very silly stuff, very goofy. That was top-tier Chef Kiss's goofiness. And today, as of 7 hours ago, it turns out the account that posted that initially was affiliated with a professional Valorant team, as I understand it, and two people that also clowned at it on Twitter who were professional Valorant pros got banned for it. So I'm doing more than Riot did. They straight up doxed them. So the two pros that obviously joked about that horrible take on teabagging being sexual assault, they got competitively banned, and then Riot doxed them. They said, like, in order to protect the identity of the person who started the tweet, we've kept their identity to person A. And then in the next sentence says, but these two pros, and gives their full name, both of their names, not like their gamer tags or anything, just their full names, and said, but these two are now banned for vulgar language against this user. We will not accept it. One of the people made a post talking about how this dox has actually affected them in the real world. So apparently, like, a classmate of theirs saw this announcement and then asked if that was them that they were talking about. So it's already like their identity being leaked like this has already had negative implications for them in the real world. It's unbelievable. All over teabagging equals sexual assault nonsense. What tournament are they banned from? They are banned from the entire Valorant Pro League. Like, they cannot be affiliated with anything Riot sanctioned. Got banned for talking shit. They weren't even like talking shit against the person who made the post. They were just pointing out how outrageous it was to claim that teabagging is the same thing as sexual assault. Like, they weren't even like attacking the actual poster. Scribble faster. I'm trying to. By the end of this, I'm going to end up with like a repeated stress injury to my wrist from having to censor their names so many times here. Because Riot couldn't be bothered. It looks like a goddamn CIA classified document with a bunch of like redacted all over it. Yeah, so this is the start of their statement here. So that, again, that Twitter thread was started by a member of Gallerance, apparently. I'm not super familiar with Gallerance. From a glance, I looked them up. It seems like it's like a Discord community that's all about like welcoming all kinds of people in there. I suppose. I don't really know. I don't think the Gallerance had anything to do with this ban. I don't think they mass reported these two players or anything. So I don't know for sure, but I don't think they did. This seems like it was Riot just putting their own dick in their ass. So I think their Gallerance is probably hands clean of this. But yeah, so the two players made posts on Twitter regarding that Twitter thread, and Riot is saying that it was targeted harassment and vulgar language against members of that community, which is a violation of their rules. So they've been banned from Riot-sanctioned events for... Oh, well, one player's been banned from Riot-sanctioned events for 3 months, and then the other one I think is 9. Yeah, 9. This was one of them. I believe Don got 3 months, yep. I don't think I need to say much more. I shitposted on Twitter, and apparently it's vulgar language. Thousands of other people, including pro players and streamers, have done it, but nothing for them. Below is all the evidence that Riot sent me. Feel free to look at them and find the vulgar speech that I used. Oh, and then in regards to the doxing, thanks for leaking my full name. People from school are texting me about it. So this is one of them. Pretty standard dunk. Nothing alarming there. Nothing that's gonna have you go like, oh, too far. And then again, this one's just, it's not that deep. I don't know why Kurapika's here, but that's kind of epic. This one's just a meme. Like, it's not even vulgar language, so it doesn't even fit. And this one, I guess, could be construed as like a threat. I suppose. I don't really know. So even if you really want to play hardball, like you can't say naughty things to other members of the Valorant esports community. Like, they really didn't. They didn't even say anything vulgar. It was just like general tweets. Like, hey, this is stupid. This is dumb. I want to quickly just come in here like a jump scare and let you all know that I actually talked to both Don and Rizora, the two people who were banned here, to get a deeper insight on things. I asked them if they like actually did target or harass the girl who initially posted the thread, like if they went in her Discord and started insulting her or shit-talking her in her Discord or anything like that. And Don confirmed everything that they were punished for was the Twitter posts. Don had never gone into the Discord or even mentioned the girl or anything like that, never attacked her, harassed her, anything like that. And Rizora also said something similar. However, Rizora did make like videos about it as well as talking in the Discord about it, getting into like arguments in the Discord. So Rizora was a little more direct with the community, whereas Don only made Twitter posts. So there, in both cases here, I don't think there's any argument for any like actual harassment or targeted attacks. It seems like both of them were just attacking the point that she was making with teabagging is sexual assault, which is a terrible point to make and deserves to be insulted and criticized, because that kind of thinking is not okay, and it is a complete slap in the face to actual sexual assault victims. So I don't think there's any case to be made that Rizora and Don were like maliciously attacking or ruthlessly harassing the original poster of that Twitter thread. Why is there like no one talking about this? That's what I was surprised about. I thought this would be big news. Like there's an actual war on teabagging going on right now in gaming. It's fucking wild. And I'll address this right now, since people keep bringing it up. Yes, I really ate my own words here. I'll come here and publicly eat shit and say I was wrong. There was a case of someone getting teabagged in a real-life sport this week. Paddy the Batty, Pimblett, teabagged his opponent after choking him out in the octagon. So, yes, teabagging does happen in real sports too. And you know what happened to Paddy the Batty? The guy that got teabagged was laughing, Paddy was laughing, the commentators were laughing, and the whole world found it to be entertaining. It's just fucking video games where virtual teabagging is apparently the devil.
You said this week you knew he was going to shoot for a single leg. Looked like you'd done your homework.
See, like that's, again, I like it. It's good. I like where his heart's at, but the technique is not great. That is amateurish technique at absolute best. Rookie shit. Only 2 pumps, and for some reason has his hands straight up. Like, that's just not even proper teabagging technique. But I do love that he pioneered it into the real world of sports. And I fucking love Patty the Batty. I think that guy's amazing. Probably tired. Yeah, I mean, again, heart was in the right place. We just got to work on that technique for the next one. But back on topic. Point is, teabagging is not a big deal, no matter how desperately gaming companies as well as delusional gamers want to pretend it is. It is certainly not grounds for a fucking ban. And these two didn't even teabag or anything. They're just talking about how stupid it is to compare it to sexual assault. Splitgate's crowd cheers when you teabag. Oh my god. To the member of the Gallerants that made that thread, I pray they never find Splitgate because they would absolutely melt down. They would think that is an actual hell on earth situation. There's an entire game mode in Splitgate where you teabag your opponent to confirm. They would never be the same. But I think this next section is really great to highlight where Riot's head's at, because this is where they protect the identity of the initial poster and then immediately dox the other two. This is where they give like the timeline of events. Beginning June 24th, a player identified as Player A to protect their identity engaged community members on Gallerant's Discord server. June 27th, the discussion evolved into an argument spanning multiple Twitter posts. I'll throw the guess out here. I know Riot got investigated for, gender discrimination stuff at the office. Like, they had a huge workplace culture problem at Riot where, we even talked about it on the podcast, there were stories where, like, one of the higher-ups at Riot used to go cubicle to cubicle and fart in the employees' faces. Like, they treated it like it was a crazy fucking frat house. And I believe it was like a $100 million lawsuit or something. I mean, I'm on the internet right now, I can double check. I don't know what the verdict was on it, but it became kind of a big deal. And I think what's happening now... Oh, the verdict's in. They've agreed to pay the $100 million in settlement. Okay. Makes even more sense then. So I think what's happened here is they're trying super, super, super hard to overcorrect for things. So they're going really fucking hard in the paint here. Like, any minor issue on Twitter or anywhere, any of their leagues, they're trying to like make a grand statement like, we are not sexist, we are safe, and it's backfiring because it's the exact opposite. That's a good theory. Yeah, I mean it's just a game theory at the end of the day, but I think the timing makes sense since they agreed 2 days ago to pay this out, and neither Dawn nor Razora even knew that this ban was coming. Seems like they may have just like jumped the gun and tried really hard to look good quickly. To be fair, is either get cooked by the person who started the thread for doing nothing, or do something and get cooked by the community. They chose the wrong side. I don't think so. The person who started the thread hasn't said shit since. At the end of the day, it was her opinion, which she's welcome to have. I think it's a terrible take, as did most people. But she publicly posted it on Twitter for everyone to opine on. And I don't think she made a big stink about it. So Riot not doing anything wouldn't have been a problem. Plus, Riot didn't hit everyone that dunked on it. Don mentioned 2 other pro players in the scene that didn't have any repercussions. Just Don and Razora. I actually got to talk to both the players on stream who gave me a deeper perspective on exactly what happened. So Dawn is the player that received a 3-month ban for this, and she talked about how her posts were what triggered Riot Games into taking action. But after Riot Games looked at the posts, they contacted Dawn saying that there were no problems, she was in the clear. And then today, out of nowhere, they just decided to ban her. She had no warning, had no idea it was coming, and was even told that it wasn't coming, and that she was cleared. It wasn't a big deal. So I don't know what exactly happened there. And then the other player is named Razora, and she received a ban from Riot for 9 months. For similar reasons to Dawn, however, Razora also made YouTube videos, like talking about how dumb it is, the whole statement on teabagging being sexual assault. So Rizora made more content around the statements than Dawn did, and as such received a longer ban. So Rizora went a little harder on the statement than Dawn, and Riot punished her harder. It's such a fucked up scenario that shouldn't have happened under any circumstance. Neither Dawn nor Rizora knew this ban was coming. They received no warning from Riot Games. They found out when the rest of the world found out, and were shocked to see that their full names had now just been put out there by this company. So this whole thing was just a complete fuck up from Riot. There shouldn't have been bans in the first place. The players should be allowed to express their opinions on Twitter, regardless of what it's about. They shouldn't be like hall monitoring their pro scene to make sure that everything is squeaky clean and fine and everyone's playing nice. And for some reason, it was only Dawn and Rizora that got banned for this, even though there were other pro players that were dunking on it as well. So it's very weird that they targeted just 2 people here out of the entire crowd of people that were talking about it. So I don't understand exactly what's going on, but one thing's for sure, Riot definitely missed the mark here. Also, both Dawn and Rizora said that with Riot doxing them like that, they've received many messages from classmates who saw the headlines and are now reaching out about it. And it's just been a real nuisance for them. So Riot's definitely just made a fool out of themselves here. This was entirely avoidable. It should have never even been a discussion on whether or not Dawn and Rizora should be banned. The answer should have been a resounding no. Shouldn't have even been a question. But even after they decided to ban them, I don't know how the decision came about to put their full names out there publicly. That's such a violation of like trust and privacy. That makes no sense to me. It's not like this is like a legal lawsuit or something like that, or like a actual litigation in court. They didn't have to fully name the defendants here. They are victims of Riot Games now. Riot Games just doxed them, which is fucked up. So this was just a really bad look for Riot, like completely. Hopefully they'll go back and overturn this outrageous decision, but I have a feeling they won't. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about this, and that's about it. See ya.